to round 3 of the Acelith Design Endurance Championship. We're here at Trial Mountain for round 3, tier 1, as the cars are coming out onto the pit, out of the pits. Just gotta make sure that everything's up and running. So, after a 2-week break, as is the standard now for ADEC, after our double header to start the year, we had a thrilling race at Deep Forest last time out, which went down to the last, straight for second place, and the gap between the leaders, the eventual winner, Jagernat, and third place was about 2.5 seconds after an hour of racing. Tonight, we are having our first crack at looking at the Gr.3 machinery, one of the most hotly contested classes, and we've got a very wide variety of cars out on track this year, or this first season. Of course, not a huge coalescence on the cars that are deemed quick at the moment. So early in the game's life cycle, we should be expecting to see a lot of differences. Definitely some talking points in there. And most importantly, we're at the famous Trial Mountain, back after an absence of GT Sport, and some small changes to the track, all in that final sector. And we'll talk about that as we head through the evening. And we'll go on board with our race winner from last time out in the Made for Space number 4 Nissan, just staying out the way the best that he can. A great win by Jagernat last time in the Mercedes CLK. Unfortunately, just in the wrong part of the track right now. But after pitting for the soft tyre, Jagernat, after a strong opening to his campaign, of course his first campaign as part of the Made for Racing umbrella, a strong fight back in round 1 to P2, and a win last time out gives him great points as we start thinking about championship and points like that. It's very important that we always keep in mind on the points. Unfortunately, we don't have a live tally of the points currently. I'm not quite sure why, but I was going to run through the points for everybody. It's currently not available. In second place last time out, we had Blue Racer, who snuck a fantastic result at the death in the unfancied Honda. Blue Racer, one of the quicker drivers, one of the quickest, you could say, on a qualifying pace in ADEC. Of course, took pole in the first race, but made a duff strategy choice, and last time out was not in the best of cars, but made the best of it. Drove a patient race, and that's something which Blue Racer is going to have to continue if he wants to stay as a title contender throughout the whole of this season. A great drive, P2. We jump up, we will find somewhere is Bottle Job, who has caught himself out in that first stint. You can see the damage. He's made a mistake. Bottle Job, who of course is in the middle of transitioning from being a pad user to a primarily wheel user. Didn't feel like he had the best results last time out. Was compromised at the end with some late damage from Mr. Vox Bacchus. He felt like he should have been at least P2 in that race, and possibly P1 if he hadn't got caught up. Hoping to bounce back, and staying with the Mercedes brand as we move from Group 2 to Group 3. And we'll head back down to our current pole sitter, F1, who had the most uncharacteristic F1 race possibly ever, driving the fantastic looking little BMW Z4 Group 3 car, obviously a real life GT3 car for many years, fabulous looking car, sounds great as well. But yeah, F1 really off had a technical issue throughout the whole race last time that really compromised his driving. He had an early incident and actually picked up points on his license for the first time ever. F1 hoping to bounce back this time. You can see the wear on those tyres after only 2 laps. He does improve to a 150.4. Gadget in the Supra, one of the GT500 cars from the 90s allowed into Group 3. And Gadget currently in P2, a long way off the back of the 8/10. That's a bit closer. Okay, so first lap was probably a little bit miffed by something. We'll have to see what happened there. Glover Barnett in the Corvette. Barnett had a little bit of an off race last time. Didn't feel totally comfortable in the 16 Nissan. Just wasn't going to. Oh, as he runs wide, probably in that wake. So that would be a wasted lap. But yeah, in the Corvette. Barnett, who had an unfortunate first 2 rounds, but hoping to kind of build back into the form that we've seen near the end of ADEC 2021. He'll be hoping to put play to some issues last time and some issues in the first race. Backus will be hoping to redeem himself after picking up some penalty points at the end of the race. Drove a fantastic drive in the 16 Nissan Group 2 last time out. Just possibly got a little bit excited and made some small errors. Nothing that could be deemed malicious, and the stewards made a note of that, but they still were deemed his fault in an incident that caused damage between himself and Sir Bottlejob. Mickey in the Porsche. Mickey, who had a fairly compromised race last time, but drove himself back into some points. And Mickey, our last driver to make it into Tier 1 this season, he's got to pick up the points and try and make sure he stays above those. He picked up an easier grid spot this time. DJ Rice, Mr. Consistent, had another consistent performance last time out. Expect him again to be in that mid-pack battle, and maybe sneaking that top 5. Luco, possibly touched the wire. Still on the racing hards, just to make sure everyone's aware. But yeah, Luco currently a little bit off the pace, but he's on the wrong tyres. But Luco had a really strong end to his race. Picked up P4 or P5. Can't remember exactly off the top of my head now. But one of those 2 positions, battling with his teammate Vox Bacchus. After a poor start to the race, really kept his head down and drove hard to get himself back into the top end of the race, and only finished probably 6 or 7 seconds off the lead, probably less than that actually. A fantastic drive, just an unfortunate start. Senna in his trusty Mercedes. We've seen Senna drive this car for pretty much every season of ADEC and Drek before it. Only maybe using the Mustang before that. But yes, he'll be trying to get some points. Great drive last time out in the CLK. I think he got 7th or maybe even 6th actually. So one of his best starts to a season, I think, for Senna this year. He's worked very hard on his tyre wear and management. Oh, there's a little spin there. Caught that inside curb. Worth noting, still on the hard tyres for now. Hello everyone who's watching. Hope you're all well. Hope you're enjoying Thursday. Last day of the week tomorrow. And then we'll have the weekend. Almost through it, guys. And we're settling down for some action. With about 10 minutes left of qualifying. Forzy and H-Boss, both these drivers had compromised races last time. I'm flicking between them just because they're both in the same car. As we see Bottlejob now up to pole position. First driver into the 49s with F1 in P2. Got report that Blue Racer was one of the drivers caught out in an incident early on with a car leaving the pits. Oh, a bit close to the wall there for Blue Racer, but what can he do? Looking very quick. That is up to P2, 3/10 off the bottle job. And that McLaren, a car which was unfancied for pretty much the whole of GT Sport. Always has looked good, but didn't quite have the pace. Well, this time it's looking good. So we'll just take a brief moment just to check one thing. I do apologise all. Oh, Blue Racer there making a small mistake. Okay, right, we are back. So let's get back onto the sharp end. So, Forzy and H-Boss both in the RCZ. This is a car we expect to do well here. And I think that's everybody in the field. So we'll get back up to looking at the front of the field. So like I say, it is a bottle job on another outlap, burning off that fuel. Blue Racer, after making that contact with the wall, expecting now probably to pit. The tyres are probably past their best. So we will keep an eye on that. Yep, as expected. Racer into the pits. F1 down to P4 as it's Jagernat now up to P1. And we saw this last time, Jagernat very quick in qualifying. Just pipping ahead of his made-for-racing compatriot. Of course, it's worth noting that, you know, when we say compatriot or teammate, there are no actual teams in ADEC. It's all individual entries. But some drivers are, of course, banded together for, you know, outside of this and show those colours. No impact on the team, on a team sort of way of thinking. It's just, you know, running similar liveries. Blue Racer now down to P3. That's where he spent most of the race last time, until sneaking that fantastic P2 at the death on the final lap. F1 now, he's got to find a bit. 9/10 of the second off. He was complaining during the week of understeer in the Orca Racing BMW Z4. Since the update, this car went from being fairly, as we see him diving the pits, so we'll go on board with Gadget up to P5. He's got Glover Barnett right up behind him still, although Barnett I think has just bailed into the pits. Gadget in the GT500 Supra, a car that he said wasn't great over one lap, but expect great pace out of it over the course of a stint. The tyres really do not wear in that car. So we'll be expecting to do well. A good recovery last week in the BMW McLaren. He'll be hoping for more good things this time, cementing his place. You know, as an ex-Tier 1 champion, you have to remember, Gadget has a lot of pride of staying competitive in the series that, of course, he is the organiser of. To P4 though now, ahead of, you know, Tier 1 champion F1. So the two previous champions looking good here. Mickey in P6 in the Porsche. So we see Barnett making a mistake there. He's jumped back to the pits. I think that may be qualifying day over, maybe? He's jumped back, so he'll lose all his fuel burn that he's done. And he's now going to have to watch out for cars entering. Same with Gadget here. I'm guessing he must have given up on his qualifying as well. He's happy with where he's at. Blue still in the hunt. Bottle and Jagernat both trying to make, you know, even more gains. Of course, we saw these two fighting hard last time. They both seem to take turns in making errors before making it kind of up and getting away, and it was Jagernat who came on top. Came out on top in the end. Mickey looking very good in P6, remember. Gadget in P4. But yeah, Mickey looking very strong in that effective P6 in the Porsche. Haven't heard a lot about this car since this introduction of GT7. It's a car which has been very successful over the years. We'll just jump away as he's going into the pits. But yeah, we've seen a lot of success for that car. As we've got Bacchus, who's now serving a penalty. Bacchus, who's not really showing the pace I was expecting. He hasn't really banged in a good lap. I think he hasn't put on a set of softs and put in a competitive lap time. Ricey has taken a break, and Vlaev in the other of the Supras is really struggling, I think, for now. We were expecting H-Boss and Forzy to be a little further up the field as well. Committed there by Forzy through the opening sector. He's got to watch out for, cars coming out the pit lane. It's a very blind sweeping section. As I said before, hi guys who are watching. Good to see you all. Hope you hope you're enjoying the stream. And H-Boss in P13 in the other Peugeot RCZ. It's a very fast starting car, at least it was in GT Sport. We'll see if that carries over into GT7. I think Berkey Baby was the driver who made best use of that back in 2020 ADEC. At Spa, I think. He jumped from 5th to 2nd by the time they got to the source. It was a very impressive start. Senna looking a little bit out of sorts, but he is still on the hard tyres. I'm expecting he's probably going to qualify on those hard tyres. He just couldn't be bothered to stick softs on. He'll qualify at the back, but he'll know how the car's going to feel. He is 7/10 up on his best lap, and that is going to put him comfortably ahead of H-Boss, unless the RCZ's got incredible pace in the in that final sector. Jagernat goes even quicker, having probably got a little bit of a toe out of F1. And Bottle counter. Can he find? He's got to find 4/10 though on this last lap and a half. So P2 for Sir Bottle Job. He'll be very pleased with this though in some regards. He is only just moving over to the wheel as Jagernat has pulled out, so he's happy with his lap. So it's all going to come down to, can Bottle Job find some pace as Blue Racer drops it on his out lap, and we are going to start the race. Of course, I don't have access to the the countdown, but it's Jagernat 2 poles in a row and taking his beloved GTR to the lead. Bottle Job, first race for Mercedes Power. He'll be P2. Luco up to P3. We missed that. So another great qualifying from Luco once he put the soft tyres on. And we are away. Let's see what the start's like. That Subaru getting a great launch. We're going to go straight on board with the Welsh driver. Bottle Job also looking strong. But that Subaru, who's going to have it? It is just about Bottle Job, but it's absolute chaos behind. Jagernat down to P3. A great launch there by the Z4 of F1, and Blue Racer's been absolutely swamped down to P5. He would have been looking, trying to come forward. Barnett with a cracking start up to P6 ahead of Gadget. We will check everyone's tyres once we've got through the first lap to see what everyone's starting on. But Jagernat down to P4. F1 absolutely bullying his way through up the field. Of course, the race 1 winner after the poor result last time, which he'll be hoping to drop. It is Jagernat down to P4 from the start, but you've got to remember the GTR very strong over a stint. We saw that back at the end of 2021, and Barnett in P6. Great top-end speed in that Corvette. We're expecting the GT500 Supers to be weak in a straight line, and he's got the much more powerful Sanders up to P8, I've just noticed as well. Bacchus is down to P9 in the GTR, but he's looking around the outside of Mickey. I think a few drivers jumped out of the qualifying order before we ever saw what the final order was. Blave in P11. Ricey looking like he might have had a poor start. Down to P12, we were expecting better from him. And the two RCZs, two cars which are considered, you know, very quick at the moment. We were expecting these further up the field. But as we head down into the new chicane for the first time, it is Bottle Job followed by F1, who's comes up to P2 in that BMW. Whatever he's doing with that BMW, he's got to be on something softer than hard tyres. Let's take a quick look to see what the strategies look like. It is. F1's gone for the soft tyre strategy straight away. So he's going for it. He's going to be pitting early. And I wonder if that was either an error or... because he's... oh, side by side as they head through there. Give it up, Bottle. There's no point fighting with a car with soft tyres. Bottle Job into P2. Luco on the hard tyres in P3. Jag on hard tyres. Blue on hards. Got hard tyres for Barnett as well. Senna in P7 on hard tyres. Backwards, and where is Gadget? Gadget has fallen like a stone again. You know, we're expecting that car to be bad in a straight line. I wonder if he got past at the end of the lap. Of course, purple lap for everybody on lap 2. Forsey with a good start though, up to P10 on the hard tyres. Almost every drive. Oh, damage for Mickey and a wall hit. And he's absolutely struggling. He's got front right damage and the aero. Flav has got rear damage. I think we know what happened here. I think Mickey and Flav have unfortunately come together. And that is unfortunate for both of them. Both of them needed a clean race. But F1 streaking away at the front. We'll have to see what he can do on those tyres. But wow, what a bold decision to go for the soft tyres. We saw that not work out for Blue Racer at the start of the year, but maybe with a slightly shorter pit lane time here expected because of a shorter distance. But Bottle Job now in P2, pushing hard. Got Luco in P3 in the Subaru, a car that is monstrous in the straight line now. Completely revamped car compared to how it drove in GT Sport. As we see Jagernat right on the back of him. Godzilla is coming to eat. And will he eat a little Subaru? Not this time. Looking like Jagernat's wanting to, you know, save that fuel. Yeah, twin turbo V6 engine as we head through. Oh, that's such a hard complex of corners. Of course, we've been here as part of the ADEC qualifying trials going the other way round. As we get the cameras to go back to the television view. And actually, Barnett's doing very well there in P6. He's under attack though from Senna. And we will switch off of the view that gives us everyone's data. Don't want to give away too much for anybody. Backus also in a GTR there, looking okay. In P8, of course not quite the storming GTR run that he had last time, but still, all the drivers touching their inside dirt. Yeah, Barnett, a good P6. He'll need these sort of results. We're hoping to kind of stay ahead of that mighty Mercedes and just keep it clean and pick up some good points. Blue Racer staying with the cars ahead as Senna goes for a huge dive. Bit of contact there, I think. And that was probably a little bit, you know, overly aggressive by Senna, but Senna, who's had such a great start to the year, really capturing some of his early form from back in the driver's room, back up, you know, he held on to up until kind of middle of the way through 2020, but then had a little bit of a dip in form in 2021. Once he got back to Tier 1, he couldn't quite get his kind of groove back together. But we're going to head back up to the front of the field, and like I say, Bottle Job leading those of the hard tyres. F1 streaking away on the softs. We'll see what he can do. Of course, masterful usually when it comes to consistency, tyre management, fuel management and strategy, so we wouldn't expect anything kind of untested by F1. But he's trying something different, trying to get away from the group. We'll see what that Z4 can do in the clean air. Jagernat still in P4. We saw him not trying to push for the lead, push to pass at this point. Glover still got Senna all over the back of him, about 5 seconds off off of second place. Of course, we don't really know what F1's doing at the moment, so we'll measure everyone against Bottle Job at this point. And then where F1 comes out, we don't know. But Senna looking very quick at the moment. Really want to push on. He'll take the position away from Barnett. Easy, much better job of it this time. I think Barnett would do well to just sit behind, save the fuel, not fight too hard for this one. They're just going to cost themselves time as we head back on board with F1. Ooh, that almost looked like a little wobble there. F1 going through. Ooh, a little bit, tiny bit wide maybe. To see what the pace is like. Oh, Anna touched the wall to go with it, so it was wide on the first part. What's that lap time? So already down into the 52s. Now, obviously, you know, it's not a hugely huge loss of pace. But it's still interesting that the tyres are going so quickly. We're expecting the hard tyre to, as per usual, last at least 20 laps. The fuel is going to be more of a concern for these Group 3 cars. It's got a high demand fuel track compared to some of the tracks we've had already. Some of the tracks we have on the calendar later, let's say. Jagernat starting to just unleash that pace a little bit, 52.7. Blue in P5, up to 53.0. Senna has picked himself up a 1 second penalty. Barnett's had a slightly duff lap, so Senna will get a penalty that I believe he has to serve on the front straight. So he'll have to pull off and he'll lose some time. And we'll see how much effect that has. Will Barnett try and push on, or is he happy to stay with his strategy? He's going for, I think, probably trying to fuel save that Corvette. Probably slightly higher wearing on fuel than most. Gadget in P8. In the Supra. Good recovery so far after a poor start. That car, we know, should be good through the stint. Very comfortable so far. As we jump back up to the front. Still holding station. Here we go. So the gap is now coming down. This is what I thought might happen. Here comes Bottle Job. 0.8 of a second quicker than his previous lap. He's opening something up in that AMG now. He's now catching the soft tyres F1, and I think this is where F1 might be going wrong here. I think those tyres have only lasted 5 laps. They're now slower than what Bottle Job can do on similar tyres. Luco in the 3rd position. Still holding on. Jagernat out kind of at bay. Able to pull a few tenths through the first sector and a half of the lap. Blue Racer just outside the slipstream. Seeing a very different sort of Blue Racer this season. Obviously made the strategy bluff or miscall at the start of the year, but he's been much more reactive to these sort of errors and learned from his mistakes, and he's not pushed too hard so far. We haven't seen as many issues from Blue. This is a very, considered drive so far. Senna manages to stay, as we see Gadget has now got ahead of Barnett, who's picked up a penalty. So he may have hit a wall somewhere. That's really unfortunate for Barnett. He will be forced to decelerate at the penalty line. He pits now, so I'm guessing that's for damage. Let's just double check. That is indeed damage. And it is lap 6. That is unfortunate. That's very unfortunate because I don't think he can last 26 laps probably of remaining racing. And that's going to put him right down the order after such a great start for Barnett. He's got a reasonable gap to those around him. He's just got to put the fuel back in and run it as long as he can. Let's run back on board with F1. Wasn't as quick last time. He must have made a small error. Gap isn't decreasing as much as I thought it would. We saw Bottle put in that very hot lap and now doesn't seem to have it. Luco still leading the train. Again, I still think as Jagernat is starting to have a look now, so is he deciding it's go time? He doesn't want Bottle getting too far away, remember. We're expecting F1 to probably pit at the end of this lap or the next one and go to the hard tyre maybe, if he's trying to make a one stop and has the fuel. Maybe he tries to go longer and he's just, you know, trying to eke out this advantage. He's not going in this time. So has F1 gone early, you know, he's managed to make the tyres last 15 minutes. He has the gap, so, you know, this may be not as much of a strategic blunder as much as we first thought. This has been well thought out. Get the gap early, run away. I mean, you're still 3.9 seconds to see Jagernat all over the back of Luco again. But we have seen him this close previously. Hi guys, hope you're all enjoying the stream. Blue Racer has just put in his best lap of the race, so he's, you know, reacting as well. You've got Senna 5 seconds back. He's back to putting in his best pace of the race. Gadget not able to live with that sort of pace at this time, but we'll see what he can do over the course of the stint. Ricey back up into a position I would have expected him to be in, 8th position. You know, being consistent, making it work. Forzy in P9. Ooh, a bit of a slide there in the Oracle Red Bull car. Bacchus in P10 in the last of the GTRs, so I think he's had a mistake on lap 4. Barnett in P11. Still ahead of Vlave, Mickey and H-Boss. H-Boss who's definitely had a mistake and a pit stop. I think all of these guys have had pit stops now. So Barnett now needs to kind of recover. You know, he came in on lap 6, so we'll see what he can do on fuel. Meanwhile at the front, 2 seconds slower. Those tyres are gone. Bottle is closing in, but we'd expect F1 in this time. Well, of course, now the downside he has is, yep, that's looking like he's coming in this time. So the downside for F1 is he's now going to fall into some traffic. He's got 63% left on the fuel. He'll fuel it to the end. So he's looking okay on fuel, but not brilliant. He would have wanted that to say 66. So he's going to have to do a little bit of fuel saving. As Gadget with the snarling and crackling GT500 Supra there. Ricey in P7. As F1 now pits, so let's see where he comes out. There's the fuel. Forzy into the pits as well. He's hit the wall. You can see by the wall penalty there. So I think F1 is, yep, he's going to come out in that clean air. So for now, it's looking okay for F1. He'll be on the hard tyres and you can cross that dotted line. There's no pit lane auto penalty switched on this time. That is a big gap to F1. Let's see what that gap is. Just for as Forzy has just come out the pits. Glover's going to be just off the back of him. Forzy 21 seconds off the back of F1 already. Barnett another 3 seconds off that. He's going to have hot tyres though, so we'll see if he can make a move on Forzy. Back out the front, so So Bottlejob now inherits the lead, but he's just hit the wall! Oh, is that going to be damage or a penalty for Bottlejob? He'd been looking, you know, like the tyres were starting to go off. Is that going to be damage for the made for bottling driver? No, he does carry on, so I think he survived that one, but he can't keep doing that. You know, he will get damage for that, and you can see his gap that he had has completely fallen away. Luke up there, you know, looking good in P2. Jagernat in P3, what's he doing? Fuel saving wise, maybe still. And of course, Blue Racer. He's starting to push now, setting his best lap of the race. So he's trying to bring himself back into the mix here. The tyres will kind of hang on if you can manage them. You see Luco setting his best lap. Bottle not having such good pace at this time. This is an important part of the race. You know, we know F1 is now on the contra strategy. He's gone soft early, hard for the rest of the race. So we're all kind of watching what the times are. The gap is 28 seconds to Sir Bottlejob right now. We'll keep an eye on that because, of course, F1 is going to have fresh tyres, but he is back to full fuel. So we'll see what he can do lap time wise. In P10 with Blave up ahead of Barnett. I'm guessing Blave must have... Oh, big kick of understeer, oversteer. Blave had a huge crash at the end of the trials, which almost cost him his chance at Tier 1. As he stay on board with Blave just ahead of Barnett. Nicky there in P13. H-Boss looking like he's just all out of sorts tonight. Let's see what he can do. Go back on board with our leaders at the other half of the track for now. Bottle just managing to pull that gap out a little bit. You can see actually how Luco's car really struggles in this final sector, I think, because Jagernat really catches back up in the final part of the lap. 53.2, 52.9, 52.8. So again, Luco this time being the car that's struggled a little bit for pace. Blue Racer this time 6% slower than his previous best, and this is what we saw last time as well. The tyres, the hard tyres, they seem to go in a cycle. You can push for 2 or 3 laps, then they need a lap off. Push for 2 or 3 laps, need a lap off. They just don't like being consistently attacked. As we see Jagernat making a mistake, running wide, that would have cost him a little bit, but I think he got away with it. But of course he has lost a lot of time. He's going to have to work hard now to try and make that time up and not fall into the clutches of Blue Racer behind. Blue Racer, who we know will take the opportunity at the first chance, the first sniff at a position. He will go for it if he feels like he's got the run in that 650S McLaren. Senna, by the way, just want to point out, putting in a cracking run at the moment in P5. We expect that to be P6 once the pit stops happen at the other end of the kind of 45 minutes of racing. But yeah, really fantastic drive from Senna. Gadget also looking really good. He's putting in great laps. We said this would happen with the Supra. It very much is a car which builds itself into the stint, works much better as the tyres kind of wear, fuel comes off. It's great handling, just doesn't really have that top end speed, so he's going to have to think about how he's going to do this move. Rice there in P7, and as we said before, another consistent drive so far from Ricey. Backus in P8 and F1 in P9, and that gap is staying at 28 seconds, so that's very interesting. He's running the same sort of pace as the leaders at the moment, but he's got obviously all the fuel in the car. We'll see how he does if he can kind of extend his net gap. Blave in P10, Forsey P11, Barnett in P12. So Blave has now got ahead of Forsey. I wonder if Blave's on a different compound of tyre. Let's have a little cheeky look. No, he's just on the hard tyre and going well now. So Vlave's got half a tank of fuel. So it's Barnett's the only one of these guys, maybe Mickey, who is... No, definitely. Barnett is the only driver who's going to be going all the way to the end at this point, but his tyres are going to have to go the furthest. So he will probably pick up all these positions. He's probably really, you know, going to be fighting with those ahead once they pit, as we see Backus now with a penalty. Will F1 try and get this done early? There is damage for Backus's rear left wheel. He will have a penalty at the end. Oh, he just cannot get that car turned in. That wasn't even a thought really for F1. Backus will just dip out of that. Dip back into the slipstream. Carry on the battle at the front, and as we kind of been seeing for a while now, it's Luco's turn with the fastest lap of their stint. You know, and this is what we've been seeing, you know, one at a time they'll all get a good lap and then suddenly it will go. Jagernat running a little bit wide through the first part of that chicane, didn't quite get the rotation maybe he wanted. The bottle job currently out front. As we're just past 1/3 distance of this race. Already, as you can see, Tier 1 at the moment, really, really close in terms of, you know, ability. You know, all these drivers, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different cars, plus if we include F1's BMW, yeah, that's 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. All within 2.5 seconds of each other, 20 minutes into the race. This is absolutely fantastic. Blue Racer now trying to push really hard now. He's setting purple sectors. We can only assume, being that F1 had a fully fueled car but soft tyres, that he had a slightly ropey first sector on that 150.9. But still, Blue Racer staying up there, pushing hard. P4. Another solid haul of points at this point. Is he fuel saving? Is he trying to, you know, manoeuvre himself into a position to push later? Jagernat in the P3. Again, looking like he's running a different line quite often to Luco. Luco trying to square off corners quite often in that Subaru. And this is what I mean by the Subaru being a totally different beast to what it was back in GT Sport. GT Sport, the Subaru was this kind of agile, punchy little car, and now it seems to have become a bit of a bruiser. It's a lot heavier, but it's got a lot more power than it did before, and it's much more kind of like almost like a V8 supercar style car now. So yeah, it's a very different beastie to drive. Blue Racer, McLaren there. As we stay on board with Senna, with Gadget just a second behind. Like I say, back in that toe. Maybe he's pushed those tyres for a couple of laps. Now they need a lap off. That 53.5, 53. So maybe this time he'll be able to push again and be able to close down that gap to Senna. But you can see how much time he loses through this first part of the lap. Just doesn't have that top speed. Meanwhile, Ricey putting in those consistent 54s. He's got F1 bearing down on him. F1 who is not pulling the gap in. He's down 29.5, so he's not maintaining his gap. And this means when we come out to the second half of the race, he may not be able to fight for this win anymore. You know, we didn't expect it because he didn't have that ultimate qualifying pace, and you knew if he was going to try and have a win here, he was going to need to really have it. He's been struggling with the understeer in this car all week. He feels like when we get to the tuning round, he's going to be able to unlock something in this car, especially if he can move the ballast around, get the weight off the nose of this car a bit. That will allow it to open it up a bit, get a little bit more movement in the rear, and then it's going to really, really fly, I think. But for now, that car is just a little bit too understeery for F1's liking. Meanwhile, it's Barnett back to P10 now. A couple of duff laps for Forzy and Mickey. Barnett, obviously, he knows he's got a lot more fuel than Blave at this point. He's working to the strategy. He knows he's lost his chance to have, you know, some nice mediums at the end, but he knows he doesn't need to pit again. He just needs to keep it cool, keep it calm, keep it collected. A-OK. We jump back up to the front half of the field. Just wanted to see how these two are doing. Senna P5, Gadget P6. These two have been kind of long-standing rivals, very good-natured rivals. But these two always seem to be close to each other on track. Meanwhile, Blue Racer now right up behind Jagernat. So this is what I mean. Blue Racer now, I think he thinks it's go time. Jagernat had a slightly less good lap, but so did Luco. Blue was the quickest of the four at this point, so is Blue now starting to unlock that McLaren a little bit. He's got within half a second, though a little bit wide through there. Not quite have as good punch down this back straight. You think, as Jagernat does have a toe, and the GTR is a weapon up until the very top of the rev range. Kind of that the second to fifth gear punch is amazing. Sixth gear it's a little bit hamstrung with, but for now that GTR looking really, really, able to just pull away by about 3/10 I think that was down the back straight. But here comes back to the handling section. The McLaren should be strong through here. Jagernat P3, he's desperately trying to find some way to get past Luco. Finally opening up the taps. It's hard to tell at this point, of course. We don't know what all the drivers are doing, and we don't really want to spoil it. As we see again, Jagernat taking that wide line into the chicane. It cuts back over the grass more aggressively than the others. But Luco with a really nice run through that section of the track. Blue looking strong as well, but just again can't live with the GTR down the straight. It's a 53.3, 53.2, and a 52.9. So this time it's Luco with the quickest car. And Bottle running away again. Can he maintain those tyres? He's had 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 fast laps in a row. He's been really consistent. Will those tyres give out on this lap and he'll lose all that advantage he's just gained? And we'll have to, we'll see when we get to the pit stops who's going to have the pace at the end of this lap. We should be about halfway in. Oh, that Subaru is starting to look a little bit understeery, uncomfortable, I think. Once again, just checking on where F1 lies. So, yeah, he's managed to stabilise that gap to about 29.5 seconds. So he's lost a second. But he's going to have to be careful. He needs to have a really strong second half of this race. Trying to get that gap back up. But we'll go on board with a lap with Blue Racer in the McLaren, just to get a nice bit of view on board with the 650. Coming down now. Section so iconic. Over there, of course, is the statue to Nessie. It's lovely Easter eggs around here. This is the new section, controversial. Changed to a very iconic section just to give another passing overtaking opportunity. I don't think it really works this way around. You see a big kick of oversteer there for Luco. Personally, I don't think that really makes an overtaking spot. It's a bit like the chicanes at Abu Dhabi, Marina Bay. It just doesn't really work. But this is a great section of track. Chuck it in. So much pace through there. Jagernat must have had a problem because Blue's just cut the gap to about half a second of what it was. So we head through the tunnel section. So hard to get comfortable. Blue taking an alternative line, trying out the power hard. Now he's going to have to kind of fall in line. This is not really somewhere you can try and overtake. Touch of the grass there. But still gets the car nicely rotated. Going down onto that gravel, or that dust. As we can see someone in the pits. Here's DJ Rice. Is that for damage? I don't know, but that's... I guess it's at 30% of the race. That's 50% of the race. 30 minutes. So I guess he's going for the 1-on-1, so F1 back up a position. Senna this time not going for that strategy. Oh, what happened there for Senna? Big mistake. Lost about a second. Really wasn't like the rear tyres are starting to go on that Mercedes. Gadget looking comfortable for now. Go back on board as we see Luco's the first to blink. So Luco pits at 30 minutes into the race, 50% of the race gone. So Luco now pulls himself out, I think, of the running, really. I think if you're not going all the way, as we see Senna also in. Now, we expected that. Senna's done a 50-50 strategy in both the other races this season. But I think Luco's taking himself out of contention here, because he'll still need, a solid, what's that? He's used 70%, so he needs 70 litres of fuel in that car. So he's going to be in that pit stop for some time. There he is, still fueling. And F1 is going to be out ahead. Just pulling out now, so what's that going to be? 5.5? Look, the gap is about 5.5, maybe a bit more as he gets those tyres. Oh, Luco straight off the ground! Oh, no! Oh, that's an absolute shocker. Just gets that all wrong. I bet you that will be damage, and that will be straight back into the pits. And Luco now well and truly taking himself out of this race. What an absolute shame for the Welsh driver. He's been really good all season, really building on that that promise he'd shown at the end of 2021. And that is a really unfortunate incident. We've all done it. Cold tyres, pushed a little too hard early on, and that's a real shame in the Subaru. He'll be back in the pits, I'm pretty sure. That'll be a position for Senna, for Ricey, for Blave. Barnett's had a couple of bad laps. He's back behind Mickey now. He needs to be careful here, because of course he knows he's got a pit stop on these guys. Backus and Forsey having a bit of a battle there, covering off the inside. As we have the first blue flags now. Jagernat up to P2, of course, with the pit stop for Luco. These guys won't know, obviously, that Luco's had an absolute mare and will be back in the pits. So they're still going to be pushing on, thinking that Luco's going to drop out between them, probably. And Jagernat now coming up to blue flags at probably one of the worst points of the track for his car. Blue Racer has dropped off the back a bit as well. I think the tyre wear is now starting to kick in on that McLaren a little bit. But obviously, he's had a couple of good laps and then an issue, and a couple of good laps and an issue on the tyres. I thought he was going straight on there. I thought that grass was going to be, pulling him in. Very sensible bit of blue flag work there by all the drivers. Luco goes round, so maybe he didn't get that damage. I'm going to double check here. No damage for Luco, just lost 5 seconds. Or possibly even more, so he got away with it, but definitely not what he wanted. F1 29.3, so that gap is stabilising. It's going to be really close. It's going to all come down to how much fuel everyone needed to put in, and of course F1 will have to be careful with his fuel. If it's going to be a 32, it's never good when you see a puff of smoke on the outside there. It's always a little bit nervy. Gadget now into P4 with the pitting of Senna, who's currently setting purple first sectors, but we know that was because the BMW didn't have a great first sector. And it is, as we saw last time, it is these three all fighting. But this time it's Bold Job with the lead. Jagernat in P2 and Blue Racer in P3 as he was last time. Is he going to try and sneak another good result? Now, of course, Jagernat's one kind of problem here is, whilst he's no longer got dirty air, he's no longer got a nice car to tow him down the straight. So he's going to have to be careful here, because, Jagernat's obviously had a problem on this lap, actually. He's lost a second down to the 54s. And we know the McLaren is very strong here, and just about holds on. I thought that was going to be an issue. And Blue likes that very wide entry into this corner. He likes to run it out to the white line where he can, when he's going for the kind of the attacking style that, of course, he's famous for. And he does love a scrap. At the moment, they've got to be careful because they will, at this point, Bottle Job is looking really solid. And he's just slowly eking that gap out. Here we go, Blue's having a look this time. I would expect the McLaren to be able to hold its own in a straight line with the GTR at the end of the straight. Blue goes down the inside. Can he get it pulled up nicely? Oh, no, he cannot. He went in too shallow. That corner is a deceptively tight corner on exit, and Jagernat survives to hold on to P2. They've both lost more time. It's a Bottle Job. That's just a little bit of a move that probably Blue doesn't need to do at this point. You know, he can sit back, he can, you know, try and work the strategy side of things, because obviously the car looks quick. You know, he's been quick all the way through the stint. The car looks fine. The tyre wear seems okay. Jagernat's, you know, wide line through there again opens him up to attack. Oh, I thought Blue hit a wall there. It looks very odd. I'm guessing he just got a little wiggle. As we go back on board with Bottle Job. So there you go. He's now had an off lap, but he's now got a 4-second gap. Gadget now 16 seconds down, getting on for a pit stop. F1 has been much quicker, so he's starting to pull back in now. Obviously, he's hit that kind of good phase of the tyres. Back in the 52s, so F1 now trying to kind of reclaim some of that gap that he lost. The other cars around him at the start of the race are going to have very old tyres at this point. He's going to have a bit fresher lap tyres, and he's going to have to see if he can make this work. It's this kind of opposite strategy, running the soft tyre for the first 8 laps of the race. Let's see if he can make this work. Luco setting his best lap of the race after his early issue, but of course he has to stay on the hard tyre now. He won't get a free shot at some mediums or even, you know, the soft tyre. I think Blue will go for the soft tyres. Actually, Blue goes for it again, this time holding that inside line a bit better. And this time he makes it stick. But now he's going to have the GTR all over his back bumper. He's going to have to be careful. But he is looking quick at this point. The GTR maybe burning out his front tyre slightly. And of course we have to see what they've all got on fuel. Fuel much slower to load. What's the word? To fuel at the moment. I believe they've moved from kind of a pump system to a gravity system simulation in the game. Oh, a little kiss of the wall there for Blue Racer. Blue looking good now, as you can dispatch the GTR. Gadget in P4, and you know, he's still in sight of those cars ahead of him. You know, he's had a very consistent run, and he said that's what he was looking for the car. You know, not the fastest, but you know, nothing to be sniffed at. He'll probably finish. Well, he'll be in that fight for kind of P6, P7, I think, at the end of the race. I don't think Luco's mistake is going to have cost him enough to drop out of the top 5 safety kind of area. The only difference, of course, being that he can't go to a set of sticky tyres. So he will be kind of, this is his fastest point of the race at this point. Senna probably in the safe P7 now. This is what I think, you know, is the kind of the case for Gadget. He'll fall probably just behind. I mean, look at Senna's lap times. Actually, he's in the 51s. He's got loads of pace in that car. So yeah, it's Senna needs he's known for, you know, reason to not be pushing hard. Ricey in P8, Blade in P9 with Barnett now a good 10 seconds off the back. And of course we know Blade still needs to pit, so he'll have some decent tyres at the end of the race. So Barnett may get himself up to P9, I think, which isn't so much understeer in that car now. tyres have absolutely given up. Bacchus has consistently, I think, been catching now, so there might be a P10 result maybe for Barnett come the end of the race. Mickey had a couple of poor laps. Looks like he's had either a pit stop. Probably has had his pit stop now. Forzy! Oh, I thought he was going off there. P2 and where is P3? P3. Oh, Jagernat's had a terrible couple of laps actually. He's got a half-second penalty as well. So Jagernat has been absolutely kind of caught out by this blue flag incident. I don't know where he got the half-second penalty from. I'm guessing he must have cut the circuit of some sort and got it just a minute ago. But that's really upset his rhythm, and now it's looking like Bottle's lead of almost 4 seconds is really coming down now. It's Blue who's starting to put the pressure on and have the pace. We're expecting these guys to probably go until lap 24. Blue really finding the pace when he needs it. You can see how slow that car is in a straight line though. He's lost half a second just by going down a straight, which has got to be a little bit irritating. Oh, Blue clipping that inside wall. A lot of drivers have done that. It seems you can get away with it without any sort of issue. But yeah, I've seen a lot of drivers do that now. Pretty sure. Oh, Blue running wide. Blue pushing really hard. Wow. Yeah, that's a bit more than he needs to be doing right now. He's in a good position. Jagernat's going to fall, a little bit off the back of him now. The gaps are going to open up as we head towards the pit stops. 54.1 for Bottle, 53.5 for Blue. So Blue's still got that pace. I think it may be because the I was about to say it's probably the rear tyres on the McLaren starting to go while the fronts are going on the Mercedes, and just as I was saying that, the back end of that McLaren looking very lively suddenly now. That could easily go wrong for Blue if he pushes too hard. Jagernat is now 3 seconds off. So I think Jagernat's he needs to have a good, solid final lap here on these tyres. We're expecting them in this time. Gadget also probably in this time. I can't imagine him doing something wacky. F1 20. Ooh, hello. F1 has pulled 3 seconds back. That's very interesting because that gives him back his 5-second lead. So the guys in P1, P2 and P3 who were battling with him aren't going to know this. He's going to know that he's got that gap down another 4 seconds. The pit stop, will be of equal length probably because they'll all be out of fuel and F1 put the fuel in to make it to the end. So yeah, F1 has got very lucky. So Bottle Job with 8 litres of fuel in, and the other two stay out another lap. That's very interesting. I am very surprised about that. I thought Jagernat and Bottle were going to come in on the same lap. I can see why Blue stayed out. He's looking, still pretty pacey at this point, and he'll want to go to those soft tyres. He likes using the softs for this kind of sprint stint at the end. That's his kind of preferred way of going about this. I'm guessing Jagernat must be doing the same, but he's now put himself in a position where he's going to have to be faster than Blue. Now, he's going to have to find 3 seconds in a straight fight on the soft tyres. Here we go. So where is F1? F1 is out ahead, and we've got a blue flag car in between them as well, but F1's got a really quite sizable gap, 2.5 seconds, and I said, it was looking all gravy for Bottle, but now, those last 2 or 3 laps of the tyres really gave way, and F1 really kind of came back at them. Of course, F1 now is going to have to go through the same thing at the end of his stint. He's got another 8 laps to do on these tyres, he's going to have been really careful on them, not to suffer the same fate, because he can't get, his car is now locked in. Unless he makes a mistake, this is his only set of tyres, he's not going to be any quicker. Bottle now has a lovely fresh set of medium tyres. He needs to make these work. Getting blue flag traffic actually probably was the last thing he wanted. But he has already taken half a second out of F1. This will not be much of a fight if he does get within range. Those mediums have a lot more grip. Meanwhile, at the front, Blue is in with 1% fuel left, and Jag is in with 4%, so a little bit of difference. That's probably worth maybe 0.8 of a second. So, this is the thing. If Jag hadn't made those couple of mistakes, as we see Gadget also in 1%, so Bottle had a bit more fuel left. He had 8%. I think it's probably a couple. Oh wow! I've just seen how much time he's taken out of him. It's down to 1 second already. So I'm expecting Bottle to come straight back past. We're gonna. Luco is probably out of this, but yeah, where is Blue? Blue's got the fuel on. I'm expecting these guys to come easily through. I do apologise. I've just accidentally missed F1 to F1 P1. Blue to the mediums, Jag to the mediums, and that gap is looking about 2.5 seconds. But Luco has managed to get into P4, so that is surprising. So if Luco hadn't have made that error, I think he would have been really in with this. But look at the difference, Jag. Wow. Okay, I'm not sure what's happened there because Blue was, sorry, not Blue. Bottle wasn't 6.5 seconds up. Those medium tyres have absolutely come out and been lightning straight away. That undercut was so powerful. This is what I was thinking with Jag. I don't know why he decided to go for that undercut. Maybe that 8th lap is really bad against the 7th lap, sort of thing. But it's now looking like a kind of straight fight between Bottle and F1. Of course, we don't know how this is going to all kind of work its way out at the end of the race. I think we can safely assume it's Jag's probably out of this for the win. Those couple of duff laps right at a crucial point, and that penalty really going to put pay to his chance of winning. He's been quite happy to sit in the tow, I was thinking he was trying to save a lot more fuel than he was. Luco has recovered brilliantly after his mistake. If he hadn't made that error, he'd be right up the front now, which is a real shame. He'd be in play for a win here. Blue now on the medium tyres. He is taking some time out of Bottle Job, but we know Bottle is having to get past F1, and F1, if no one knows, is masterful at defense. He's very, very good at putting himself in the right place, where at the right point of the circuit. He doesn't get easily spooked. He's done this before. He knows what he's doing. They are coming to the last 10 minutes of the race, 5 laps or so to go, and we've got a straight fight for the lead between F1 in the Z4 and Bottle Job in the Mercedes AMG GT. Let me know, who you think's going to have this one. Bottle Job's got the medium tyres on. They should be much quicker, and you can see he's all over the back of him. And just behind, we've got Blue Racer, and we know what happens when Blue Racer's got a shot at a win. He's got to find 5 seconds in about 5 laps, but it is looking like Bottle Job's sizing up the move now. He's going to have to go all the way around the outside, unless he sends a dummy of some sort. F1 covering that inside line. Bottle Job having to do the long way round. Yep, it wasn't able to do some sort of switcheroo. Corner doesn't really work for that, but this is great driving by F1. Really, really holding the line, and the longer he does this for, he may be able to bring Blue back into this. Bottle going all the way around the outside the corner. Whoa! That's not a normal overtaking place. F1 absolutely giving it everything he's got to protect, and this is what I mean by this chicane being a bit Mickey Mouse in my opinion. I don't think it works for overtaking. It really doesn't, in my opinion, make any improvement on the ability to overtake. Blue Racer now down to 4 seconds behind, just worth noting. He's in the 51.5. Luco now got Jagernat right behind him. So I think we are looking probable for our battle for the podium. As we see Bottle Job still trying to find a way. Is he going to try and... Oh, is he going to try and hang it all the way around the outside? Oh, keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean. Oh, big oversteer there for F1 in the Z4. This is an absolutely cracking battle. We'll quickly jump back to see... No battle there. Let's see what happens this time. And look how much Blue Race has taken out of them. And Bottle Job knows that this is going to be really spoiling his chance to run away. F1 on the other hand is thinking, if I can get them to fight, I've got a chance at this. You know, I can make this work for me if I can get them to fight each other. I've just got to hang on. Will Bottle go for the inside? No, he goes for the outside again. Maybe he should have tried to squeeze it into that inner gap. Bottle now into the lead. Can he hold it? F1 trying his best, but Bottle Job has swept round the outside of, you know, little Banky Boy. And takes... Oh, F1 touches a wall as well. And he's going to have the even, you know, the very, very fast-looking Blue Racer behind him. Trying to get another P2. Can he find a way? 4 laps to go. 1 second. Oh, I think it's very likely to happen. Blue Racer so quick in that first sector with the mid-engine McLaren. You'd expect him to try something maybe into the tunnel. F1 having a look back at Bottle, as Bottle had a little error of some sort, because I was not expecting F1 to have a go there. I thought he was going to be home and dry. I'm going to stay on board. F1, no way is he having a look into the fuss. He is! He's trying to hang on with those hard tyres. I mean, you've got to, you know, salute the bravery. But F1's off! F1 is off! He is off! He pushed too hard, and this is what I mean. I thought he was being a bit too brave. And I think that car has hit the wall hard. Jagernat now up into P4. Can he rescue a podium after the errors that were made? I think that is definitively going to be damage on F1's car. He's going to probably try and stay out. He can probably still get top 6 results, 10 seconds back to Gadget, who's stolen another fastest lap. He did this last time as well. But I think F1's got damage. Jagernat being forced down to the wall. Blue Racer pushing really hard as well. He wants a chance of that win. Can Bottle hold on? F1's still got straight line speed, so I think this must be wheel damage only. It's really hard to tell. He hit that wall really hard. I'd be amazed if he doesn't have damage. Gonna have to jump back up to the lead battle though. These two, they had a battle last time, and it was Blue that came out on top. Will it be Blue out on top again? It was a Mercedes versus a Honda last time. It's a Mercedes versus a McLaren this time. F1, I would be amazed if there's no damage on that car. There's no damage on that car. How is that possible? He was off the circuit. I mean, it was game over, it looked like. But we'll go back on board with our lead 2. 4 tenths between them. And Blue is going to be giving it everything for these next 2 laps. We know he's strong through here. Let's ride on board. Runs it super aggressively over those curbs. He's a little bit wide of there. He's going to have to be careful. He's pushing hard. He's going for a different line now. So now he's going for the early turn in, trying to maybe force Bottle into running wide. Bottle Job. He's done this before. He's won races. It's not just Blue who's won races here. These two pushing really hard. Look how much grip that McLaren's got. Anyone who thought the McLaren is not a good car, they are wrong. The days of GT Sport are definitely different. Now we're in GT7. Still lacks a little bit in the straight line. He's in the toe and he can't even quite close in. He's going to have to pull some sort of move here. We know Blue isn't against that sort of thing. He's done that sort of thing before. I think in a McLaren, if I remember correctly. Come from a long way back on a dive. Car's turning much more smoothly than Bottles is. It's got 2 more laps to try and hold on. Blue's got 2 more laps to try and make a great exit out of that corner. Bottle Job pushing a little bit too hard, I think, at this point. He needs to just cover himself off. Don't let Blue have any chances here. Blue going for the widest possible line. Here it comes. If he's ever going to have a chance down a straight line sector, that is going to be the one. Jagernat is now through for P3. I think his chance at P1 or P2 has now sailed. F1 still holding on those hard tyres. Of course, Luco's on hard tyres as well. These two are fairly evenly matched. I mean, we know Luco would have been about 5-6 seconds up the road if he hadn't made that mistake. Admittedly on the wrong compound of tyre to really be fighting at this point, but you know, Luco, really unfortunate, driven brilliantly. Gadget in P6, Ricey in P7, Backus up to P8, Barnett in P9. He's still got to go an extra couple of laps. Senna has been off. I did not spot this. Senna has been off and made a mistake. He'll have fresh tyres, and I'm sure we'll be pushing. But I'm surprised by that. Blave in P11, Mickey P12. We'll go back on board with the lead battle. Here they go again. Bottles this. Oh, Blue's got the inside line. Bottles has held that, and Blue's taken the lead on the way in. I think Blue may have this one in the bag. He's going to cover off that inside. Take the. He's had a couple of goes at this on Jagernat. He knows how he's going to do it, and I think that's going to probably be Blue away now. Bottle not being able to run fast enough. I don't know. You know, he looks so confident, comfortable on those hard tyres. But Blue on the mediums has come back and has looked fantastic in race trim. So Blue Racer, 1 more lap we're going to have. I will admit, a little bit surprised that the McLaren has been so strong here. You know, a lot of talk at the moment has been about how FR cars are kind of the strongest, but Blue has made it work in the MR McLaren. It's got 1 lap to go. A little bit of traffic, about 5-6 seconds up the road. Don't expect that to have any impact. But here they go, through the fast sector 1 last time. We'll ride on board with Bottle Job this time. See if he can make anything happen. As we head through the first of the tunnels. Probably got this one in the bag. The car's turning a lot better than Mercedes is. This track is definitely front limited. Maybe not what everyone was expecting. Could have been likely to think it was going to be rear limited, but I think the mid-engine cars with their better front tyre life, it's definitely kind of paid off in the end. Even with a car which isn't particularly good in a straight line, Blue's got a reasonable gap now. Unless something tragic happens with this back marker, I think Blue's probably got this one done. We are now on the final lap. It's going to be Blue Racer. And Luco's got damage. I think he's got engine damage. We'll jump back ahead to Blue. All he's got to do is bring it home. Running it wide again. Oh, imagine if he dropped it there. That would have been unfortunate. Goes past Mickey. Keeps it safe 1 last time through there. It's going to be Blue Racer, our 3rd different winner, to take, I think, maybe his 4th or 5th Tier 1 victory. Bottle Job, first race from the Mercedes. He'll feel happy that, it's probably been his best performance. P2, Jagernat in P3, recovered well. F1 for P4, Gadget P5 in the Supra. Luco had an absolute travesty of a final lap. He's got engine damage, I'm pretty sure. DJ Rice P7, Backus in P8. Senna does steal P9 away from Barnett. Barnett having a poor final lap, but P10 gets some decent points on the board. Laven P11, Mickey P12, H-Boss P13, Forzy P14. But congratulations to Blue Racer, a fine drive. Bottom job in P2, Jagernat P3. And yep, Blue Racer pleased with his patience, and it is definitely something that he's been working on this season. There's our top 3. Congratulations to the winners, to the podium, and congratulations to all the drivers who got to the end. But that's it from myself today. What a great race. Action just as we had last time, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and this has been the Acelith Design Endurance Championship. Check out Acelith Design for all sorts of wheel rim mods, and we will be looking at the podium. Looking at the podium, of course. So yes, like I say, check out Acelith Design for all sorts of wheel rods for wheel rim mods for Fanatec, Thrustmaster, and Logitech wheels. Thank you very much for your attention this evening. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time for round 4.